Hello everyone and welcome to another Premier Injuries Update. We're in the midst of game week 9, but we've already got a major doubt ahead of game week 10, and that is Brazilian winger Raphinha of Leeds United. Now Leeds travel to Carrow Road next weekend, and this is the case of the Canaries' curse after Romelu Lukaku picked up an ankle injury playing for Chelsea midweek, which kept him out of today's game. Well, Raphinha certainly looks to be a serious doubt. He was caught by Roman Sears, his training leg. His ankle was forced out externally. Now that will give some kind of indication that it could be a mid to high ankle sprain. Video footage and images that I've seen aren't conclusive, but it's certainly the mechanism of injury could indicate that. Now, these are injuries that we've seen very much in recent times. Rhys James, he had 3 weeks return to play. Romelu Lukaku, I'd be very surprised if we see Lukaku before the international break. So that could be potentially maybe 4 to 5 weeks. We know from the data, typically if it is a high ankle sprain, we're looking at doubling the return to play timeline for a typical ankle sprain. So for me, game week 10, as it currently stands, I'm almost certain that Raphinha will miss out that game. Bielsa said, those tests will undergo. We don't know the extent, and that's true. And that injury can evolve maybe over the next 24, 48, or even 72 hours, and the player could be sent for imaging. And even then, at this early stage, it may prove inconclusive due to maybe swelling in and around that joint. So, may not have a definitive answer. Fortunately, Leeds are playing in the Carabao Cup, so we may have something nice and early from Marcelo Bielsa from that. Now, his importance, the Brazilians' importance to Leeds cannot be understated. They're on a terrible run. Yes, they managed to get a 1-1 draw today, but we've seen Raphinha absent since he joined the club on 5 separate occasions. The first occasion was just last weekend against Southampton. They actually lost. And last season, he picked up a dead leg, an impact injury on his thigh, a hematoma. And of the 4 games that he missed in the Premier League, Leeds drew 2, but they also lost 2. That included a 4-1 home defeat to Leicester, and also they were beaten 2-0 at home by Brighton. So worrying indeed for Marcelo Bielsa and managers again within the fantasy community. Elsewhere within Leeds, just to give you an indication of how those potential recovery and rehab processes don't always go to plan. We heard from Patrick Bamford before the last international break, and he talked about a potential return to the training pitches and how he'll be looking to implement some twisting and turning and take part in full sessions ahead of game week 8. Well, that hasn't happened, and we know for now that he will be also out of the Carabao Cup match. Now, that puts him at 40 plus days, and that's more aligned with the average of what we see on our database. So fingers crossed, like I say, we hope it isn't as severe as that, but certainly for the Norwich game, which a lot of managers would have been targeting Raphinha for, it looks as if he's going to miss out on that. We still don't know what's going to happen with Patrick Bamford. It's going to be a case of game week to game week. And another mention, I just want to mention Jack Harrison, again, brought off at half time against Wolves today. He hasn't looked great since recovering or returning post-COVID. Now, whether this is an issue just because, he's feeling the after effects of that problem, or it's just a dip in form, but he hasn't been getting the minutes in his legs. He got 90 last week, but he only had 45 this week. He had 45 the first week, and then he was actually dropped for the second game on his return, and he didn't taste any. So, the pressure in and around that Leeds squad, particularly from key players, and Harrison was one of those big players last season, is worrying. Elsewhere within the fantasy community, people maybe consider the likes of Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang or even Lacazette, following his performance against Palace and then, of course, against Aston Villa on Friday. Both players looked in a little bit discomfort when they limped off on Friday evening. However, it is good news in that regard. It was only fatigue related. That both players were suffering from cramp. So barring any kind of reaction, which is highly unlikely, I think both players should be in and around that squad and certainly start in game week 10. Elsewhere, we've heard from Sean Dyche. Maxwell Cornet gets himself on the score sheet again. Now, he is looking at a very interesting and appealing prospect. He's now leading scorer for the Clarets since his arrival. But he suffered a hamstring injury, just soon after being integrated into the squad. And Sean Dyche has come out and said, with regards to his withdrawal today, it's a precautionary measure as he gets up to speed with the fitness of the Premier League. So again, good news in that regard, nothing too serious there. And N'Golo Kante, he missed out for Chelsea against Norwich. That's looks to be more of a precautionary measure, a little bit of muscle tightness, so hopefully he'll be fine. Tuchel said that if the game had been on a Sunday, then he would have been in a matchday squad. But we also heard that about Mason Mount a few weeks back when they played Manchester City, and then he missed the subsequent game against Juventus in Turin. Raheem Sterling woke up this morning with a little bit of a niggle in his back, so that's why he's omitted from the City squad. However, it doesn't seem at this moment in time as if it's affecting them too much, because City actually lead now 3-0. But that's it for your injury roundup on Saturday. If there's any more late and breaking news, we will add another video. So keep following. If you have any comments, please stick them in the box below and subscribe, and you will be notified as soon as our videos go live. Thanks for watching. Appreciate all your support and see you all again very soon.